Alright. In the last video, I didn't give you the formal notation of a function, so of a derivative of a function. So if you were to say, okay, if your function was, and we'll derive this one too, I should say of x, and we all know the function of x, or this is the same thing as y. Let's say our function is 3x squared minus 4x, well, it doesn't matter what order it is, well, I just can't do that, to the third plus x plus pi. And you're like, alright, wow, what's this, irrational number or whatever. Let's see if this works. I don't know, not a rational number, but you know what I mean. Alright, so if we want to find the derivative, what we do is we write like this. Same f. This one looks a little more capitalized, but you just write the little apostrophe right there. And you're saying, okay, this is derivative of the function of x. And this is the function of x, right? So if we were to find the derivative, and we pretty much know, we kind of know how to do this. I'll explain this one, obviously, which is, it follows the same rules as a constant. So now you probably have a hint of exactly how it's going to look. So let's do this one. We drop this down. So we get 6. Right? 2 times 3 is 6x. Decrement this by 1 to the 1, but I won't write it. And then minus. You don't change signs. If this was a negative, you would. All right. And so we get, and we could do that after too, just to give you, kind of formal training of, in all aspects. So this is minus 12, right? Negative 4 times 3. X, and then minus 2 for this one, so we get 2. The derivative of this is just 1, right? There's a 1 up here, drop it down, decrement that 1 to 0, x to the 0, anything to the 0, unless it's, well, maybe it's not 0. Oh, anyway. Then we get 1 just by itself, so, or 1 times 1. And then plus, and this is a constant, pi, 0. Alright, so that's our answer. But I kind of wanted to show you that this formal little, this is how you write it, and I also want to add pi in there. Alright, now I'm trying to give you some fractions, and they're really the same thing. You just have a denominator in each of the subjects, so you don't have to actually change anything. So I could do, g of x. I don't have to do f of x. But I wanted to differentiate the two. G of x. Let's see. X to the third over 8 minus x to the 10th over 10. Alright, and you're like, wow, this is kind of complicated, right? But you do the same thing. You just drop this 3 down, so you get 3x squared, right? That's how you would do this one, except for you wouldn't make that 3 so low, but 8, right? And then this one, 10 x to the 10th over 10. Well, these cross out, right? And this you can really just put in the numerator. So we'll rewrite that as 3x squared over 8. And you can't simplify this anymore. Minus, these two cross out, but I'll just write it anyway. 10x to the 10. Oops, I should have decremented that, shouldn't I have? Yep, so that's 9. So that's 9. Well, that's not too bad. You get the idea. Over 10. These cross out, so you get 3x squared over 8 minus x to the 9th. That's it. Let's see if we can't find another one to do. Let's see. Let me do a couple more. Let's see. X to the 4th over 2 plus pi over 2 minus x to the negative 3 over 3. Alright, let's try this one out. I'll do this in a separate color. Pink. Alright. So we take the, oops, I should have said the derivative of x. The derivative of all this, kind of lost the notation coming down. I should have We'll write down. We'll just call this one h of x just for the heck of it. H of x, the derivative of h of x. I'll just put it like that. And this will be this is derivative, the answer. Alright, so x to the fourth, so we get 4. I'll just write it on in the numerator over 2. This is just a constant, so that's 0. And this one becomes, drop that down, it's going to be positive 3x over 3. And this one is, well, minus 4, right? Because you minus it by 1. Oops. Careless mistakes. Alright. So this one, you drop this down, it becomes a plus 3, right? Negative times a negative. And then you decrement this one by 1, right? So this one simplifies. So we get h prime, that's how you say h prime of x, or the derivative of h of x is equal to, and you can simplify this too, just make it 2, right? This is 2, this is 1, so 2x to the third plus 0 plus, right, 1, 1, 1, 1, x to the negative 4, which is equal to 2x to the third plus x to the negative 4. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Hopefully I didn't make any more careless mistakes. Alright. Let's see if we can find another one. Derivative. Well, I might as well bring in at least one trigonometric function. So let's just say, let's go back to f again. Well, I might as well just change colors. Let's see. Alright, let's see. F of x equals cosine of x. Well, let's just find the derivative of that, why don't we? So the derivative of f of x, and you really have to just know your derivative, you mean your trigonometric functions, and you kind of have to kind of memorize them. But the derivative of, oh, I should have done, well, we'll just do this one. It's best not to do the easiest ones, I guess, all the time. This one's the second easiest. The derivative of cosine is negative sine, and of course x or whatever. You don't have to put in parentheses. And what I meant to do first is, what's the derivative of sine of x? And you might say, oh, well, you know, maybe it's negative cosine of x, but in fact it's just cosine of x. And in a way, this is kind of cool, right? I mean, watch this. If you take the derivative of this and you get cosine of x, and then you take the derivative of that and you get negative sine of the first one, and then what happens if you take the derivative of negative sine? Let's take the derivative of negative sine of x, and you get, what's the derivative of sine of x? Just cosine of x, right? And so we just put that leave that negative there. So it becomes, and it doesn't matter, I use f of x, whatever, it's just saying function, that's just the normal way of writing it. So it becomes negative cosine of x, right? I just like writing the parentheses. Alright, and now what's the derivative of this? The derivative of x, if the function of x, is, what is it, negative cosine of x, and that derivative is equal to, alright, what's the derivative of cosine of x? Well, it's sine of x, right? Or negative sine of x. And then we add that negative in there, we multiply it rather. Just like we did here, we multiply, we're not adding it. So it becomes sine of x. Right? And we're back to square one. And what's the derivative of this? Cosine of x. What's the derivative of that? Negative sine of x. So on. And we come back to square one. I think that's pretty cool. Alright, well, I'll leave you and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully. Thanks.